Good morning. I am Scott Blythe, the moderator for today's debate between representatives for presidential candidates Democrat Barack Obama, Republican Mitt Romney, and Libertarian Gary Johnson.
Good morning. My name is Kenny Weinberg. I will be representing the Democratic Party as Barack Obama, our president.
Hi, I'm Kathy Ngo. I'll be representing Gary Johnson on behalf of the Libertarian Party.
Hi, I'm Sri Clayton, and I will be representing Mitt Romney on behalf of the Republican Party.
The rules for the debate are as follows. One question will be asked and each representative will have up to 2 minutes to respond. Each representative will then have up to 1 minute for rebuttal. Then another question will be asked and the same format will be followed. The audience will remain silent until the conclusion of the debate, when we will give democracy a round of applause. The first question will go to Obama and is on the topic of education.
President Barack Obama knows that a good teacher can change a student's life. That's why he supported the jobs of thousands of educators and is calling for incentives to keep the best ones in the classroom. He's against the voucher system and hopes to support the public school systems because 90% of our schools, 90% of our kids reside in it. Mitt Romney opposes efforts to reduce class sizes and says that we should cut back on teachers. President Obama is committed to ensuring the veterans and service members can get a college education and find work when they return from service. That's why he's implemented and expanded the post-9/11 GI Bill, which has helped more than 800,000 veterans and their families pursue an education. Mitt Romney would slash domestic investments so drastically if cuts and applied across the board, funding veterans affairs would be cut by 90% or $11 billion a year. Obama has launched Race to the Top, spurring 46 states to raise their standards for college and career readiness, and has a plan to recruit 100,000 science and math teachers over the next decade. Thank you.
Mitt Romney?
Now, Mitt Romney currently supports the federal government's involvement in education, and he believes that our priority should be school performances and curriculum and the federal level involvement in education, but no matter what, the overall priority will always be to improve our education system. Mitt Romney believes that every child should have an equal opportunity at school, and if this is controlled by state or government, the equal opportunity could be lost. Now, Obama's representative has said that Mitt Romney supports cutting back on teachers and not giving enough money to students and that sort of thing, but this is where he's wrong. Because Mitt Romney would leave in place the No Child Left Behind Act, and Obama's Race to the Top is not working as well as he thought it would, and we can all see that very obviously.
Anything to say?
I could go.
Got anything to
Okay,
say
well,
about?
first off, I'd like to add, Obama's on track right now for the United States to be the leading college graduates by the year 2020. And Romney was quoted saying that paying for college should be the responsibility of the student. They told it to shop around and to borrow money from your parents to pay for college. And Romney would abandon the bipartisan national commitment to turn around failing schools and believes that class size is not relevant to a student's learning.
Johnson?
What the Libertarian Party believes is that there should be minimum government in all affairs, and this applies especially to education. He believes that the matters of education should be left to parents and school boards to decide, and that includes funding, the school choice of the students, and their type of education. Schools will have to be funded on their own if Gary Johnson is elected, but students will be given vouchers to go to the school of their choice to pursue a better education. We should also focus on abolishing the Department of Education and student loans because they raise tuition for students, and the competition between schools will become like the free market.
This question will be going to Johnson. It's environment. What does your candidate think of our primary source of energy should be? And what should the role of government be in regulating how much we use our energy?
Gary Johnson believes that our best use of energy would be to use alternative energy, such as solar, wind, and geothermal energy. And we shouldn't use ethanol, even though it's a type of alternative, because it's using up our crops to be used for other purposes. And he also supports nuclear power. Yet he believes that the government should have little control in pricing and regulation of these energies. They should be left to the local and state businesses and economies. The private sector will also be responsible for this, since it's not the government job to be involved in these personal matters.
Okay, any of you have anything to say about that? Or, no? Obama?
The President has taken historic steps to reduce carbon pollution in the United States, including establishing fuel economy standards that will cut the amount of carbon pollution from cars by half, proposing standards to decrease carbon pollution from new power plants, and helping us transition to a cleaner and more efficient energy sources. Mitt Romney doubts the science behind the climate change, even though it is proven true, and would roll back progress to combat it. He opposes new fuel efficiency standards that will save consumers at the pump and reduce carbon pollution. President Obama established the first national safeguard to cut down on mercury and other toxic air emissions from power plants, which will prevent up to 11,000 premature deaths, 540,000 missed work days, and 130,000 cases of asthma each year, helping to keep our children out of the hospital and in school. The goal of cutting foreign oil imports by half in 2020 is already in progress. Our dependence on foreign oil has dropped to a 20-year low. Romney wants to continue drilling off the coast of populated areas, but we are still recovering from that horrible oil spill in 2010. Thank you.
Romney?
Mitt Romney says that America must become energy independent, and he wants to guarantee America the most affordable and reliable supply of energy in the world. Now, Mitt Romney does believe our primary resource should be oil, but that green energy is important too, and that the government should have minor regulatory power, but overall, states should decide most energy regulations within their state lines. But Mitt Romney wants to fix what Obama has ruined. Obama has focused on an imaginary world of government, subsidized windmills and solar panels that could power the entire economy. Now, this vision has failed, and we've lost $90 billion to this. Mitt Romney wants to use innovation and productivity to make full use of our natural resources.
Johnson?
Well, in the government's role with the Department of Energy and Defense, they're receiving sovereign immunity for when they're damaging the environment for their types of energy sources, such as drilling and other carbon pollutants. So they believe that those departments should be abolished in order to keep better care of our government, or our environment.
This next question is going to Romney. It is on immigration. How does your candidate plan on dealing with illegal immigrants coming into the U.S. and those already here?
Well, first of all, Mitt Romney is going to deal with the illegal immigrants coming into America by making the temporary worker visa system functional, enforcing the laws that have already been set, and securing our borders. We're going to secure the borders where Obama has failed to do so. We're going to do this by completing the high-tech fence, making development an efficient and make an efficient system, and the exit verification system better to ensure people don't already stay past their visas. For the people that are already here, they will not be granted amnesty, and they will have to apply to become legal citizens. They won't get priority over people that have already applied either.
Obama?
Using its authority under existing law, the Obama administration took action to lift the shadow of deportation of young people who came to the United States as children through no fault of their own, so they can pursue the education of their dreams and apply for a work authorization. Romney has refused rather to say he supports the Obama administration effort to lift the threat of deportation for these hard-working young people. The president understands the challenges that immigrants face. That's why he proposes a new rule to keep families together by allowing undocumented spouses and children of the United States citizens to stay in the country while they begin the legal immigration process. Mitt Romney says he would encourage the inhumane practice of self-deportation for 11 million undocumented immigrants in America. 65,000 youth do not get the opportunity to graduate. They are smeared with the inherited title an illegal immigrant. These youth have lived in the United States for most of their lives and want nothing more to be recognized for what they are, Americans. The DREAM Act is a bipartisan legislation that can solve this hemorrhaging injustice in our society. Under the rigorous provisions of the DREAM Act, qualifying undocumented youth would be eligible for a 6-year-long citizenship that requires completion of a college degree or 2-year military service. Thank you.
Johnson?
My candidate sees that many people crossing the border to this country are pursuing similar dreams as most Americans, which is getting an education, finding a job, and living in a better society. Many of these include families, so my candidate is against the process of self-deportation, as it is seen as discriminatory. The immigration law now needs to change so that immigrants coming in will have a shorter process of becoming citizens and not taking years as it currently is. With the past visa working law, it covers those that are currently working here with part-time visas, yet it doesn't ensure those that are coming into these jobs, and it should. Many enter for the sake of jobs, even part-time, but with no quick legalization, it's considered illegal immigration.
This next question is going to be Afghanistan, and it's going to Obama.
All right. President Obama is drawing down our troops in Afghanistan as we transition security responsibilities to the Afghan people. We plan to bring home our troops by the summer of 2014. Mitt Romney has no plan to withdraw our troops from Afghanistan and has opposed every timeline I've created. President Obama made the bold decision to order a raid on Osama bin Laden's compound in Pakistan in 2011, eliminating the man for 9/11 attacks and the only leader al-Qaeda had ever known. And first, I would like to say, Romney said in a presidential debate that any president would have done that, but he was recorded saying that it's not worth moving heaven and earth to find one man. We have been training Afghan soldiers in combat to allow them to take over their war. These forces have surged and will peak to 352,000 this year. With the withdrawal of troops from Afghanistan, we can now focus on the home front. We can now create new jobs, new roads, and bridges. Thank you.
Johnson?
My candidate strongly enforces his belief that our country should be in armed neutrality, which means that we keep our business within our land, unless it's in foreign personal interest. Right now, he believes that all troops should be moved from Afghanistan and the rest of the Middle East immediately, because we have no business being over there meddling in their government and society. He also believes that what we did in Afghanistan was immoral and unjust because their problems should be solved by their own government.
Before I start on this question, I want to just make a statement real quick. Mitt Romney is not in the belief of ripping families apart. And this is why we want to make the visa working system actually workable. Obama has not, and I just wanted to make that statement. Now for Afghanistan, Mitt Romney believes that ultimately the military's top brass should decide when troops should be withdrawn, and the timeline most appropriate for that. And also that the bulk of security obligations must lie with Afghanis. And Obama has just clearly stated that now that we're taking troops out of Afghanistan, and they can come home back to the home front and create jobs here, but you've had 4 years to do that.
Next question is going to be about healthcare to Mitt Romney. How can healthcare be made affordable for all Americans?
Okay, so Mitt Romney has 3 major points for this. Restoring state leadership and flexibility, promoting free markets and fair competition, and to empower consumer choice. Now, a lot of people say that Obama's Obamacare was based off of Mitt Romney's plan, but this is where people seem to not understand. Mitt Romney's state plan was meant exactly for that, for a state. And it wasn't something that should have been expanded upon for a nationwide healthcare plan. And that was just one of Obama's failures in the healthcare system. And that this worked for the states because within the states they could regulate whether it was what the state needed or what it wasn't. But as a federal health care plan, the opportunity to regulate certain things has been taken away, and so it just doesn't work.
Johnson?
Again, Gary Johnson expresses his belief that the government should take minimal involvement in personal lives, and healthcare right now is the main issue for that. He believes that government-funded programs like Obamacare, Medicaid, and Medicare should be abolished because they're spending too much of the government's budget in trying to regulate healthcare for the whole nation. To make healthcare more affordable for citizens, the first thing that should be done is to completely cut these programs. And a second method that he proposes is making a medical savings account, which will have tax-free money put in, and citizens can use this to pay for bills and other expenses. And he hopes to make this tax deductible to make it easier on our citizens. He also believes that citizens need individual choice in their health coverage because each citizen has different conditions and circumstances, and unneeded bills for things that we don't need to cover should be cut. He also believes that the FDA, the Food Drug Administration, should be cut because their process of administering medicine takes too long to legalize it and authorize it for citizens. The private health businesses need to be in charge of that to make the process quicker.
Obama?
The Affordable Health Care Act, or Obamacare, is making health care work better for all of us. Even if you already have insurance, it puts the health of your family first, and ensuring access to free preventative care and protecting consumers from insurance company abuses. Expanding access to preventative services like flu shots, diabetes screenings, and mammograms have affected 54 million Americans. And it covers pre-existing conditions and allows sons and daughters to stay on parents' health care programs until the age of 26. Mitt Romney has promised to repeal all the benefits of Obamacare on day one, even if when he is elected president. Even though Romney Care was his idea, why would he go back on it now? The Affordable Care Act is helping people with Medicare save on the care they need to stay healthy, from free preventative service to lower costs on prescription drugs and monthly premiums. Mitt Romney would end the guaranteed benefits and turn Medicare into a voucher program which could cost senior citizens more than $6,000 each year, and allow insurers to deny coverage to more than 129 million children and adults with pre-existing conditions. Thank you.
Anything to say?
That was your mistake on saying that last statement about my plan, even though I just said it. But I'll just refresh everyone's memory about it. The issue was not my plan or my candidate's plan. It was how Obama put it into act. It wasn't meant for the nation. It was meant for a state. All these regulations that a state could have were cut. And now it's this, and this, and there's no change in that. It wasn't meant for a nation.
But there's no clear path. I mean, I want to give you credibility for it, but your track record isn't showing it. You'll say something, and then the next day you'll change your mind on something.
I don't want credibility for what you put in the act for healthcare.
All right.
Okay. At this time, we are going to our closing statements, and it's going to go Johnson, Mitt Romney, and then Obama. Johnson, you may take it.
First, I'd like to thank the representatives here, Sri Clayton and Kenny Weinberg, Scott, our moderator, and our audience. As a representative to my candidate, Gary Johnson, I wanted our citizens to see that if Gary Johnson was elected president, he will ensure that the individual choice will be in the hands of businesses, communities, and the individual.
Thank you, everybody, for coming, for my candidates, the moderator, the audience, and the wonderful camera people. I just want to tell you, Obama came into the first 4 years of his presidency making a lot of promises he didn't keep, a lot of promises that haven't come true. Now he's coming into the next 4 years making the same promises. We can't afford another 4 years of wasted words and hot air. We need change, and that's what Mitt Romney wants to do. Make the right choice, because America's depending on it. Thank you.
Obama?
First off, I'd like to thank my fellow candidates here, and the moderator and everyone here, camera people also. You, the American people, have heard what I stand on these very important issues today. It is the job of the president to keep the people safe. That is why I ended the war in Iraq. It is also why I decimated Al-Qaeda's core leader, Osama bin Laden. That is why I am ending the war in Afghanistan. America needs leadership and someone that can make a strong decision. These are some examples on Romney's decision-making skills. You say you love American cars during your debate, but you write an article, "Let Detroit Go Bankrupt." If you talk about how much you love teachers during your debate, but you just said a few weeks ago they couldn't hire anymore because they won't grow the economy. I've heard politicians change their minds every 4 years, but not every 4 days. The Obama administration came up with a name for this disease, and it's called Romnesia. There's a theme here. He keeps loving stuff and wants stuff, but he ends up cutting it or not helping it. But hey, don't worry. Obamacare covers Romnesia. And we also take care of 100% of our people, not just the 47 that Romney says feel sorry for themselves and need handouts. Thank you very much for your time.
That is it, and thank you for being here, and thank you for the candidates for being here. Thank you.